What's going on, Internet? We're going to talk about employment numbers. What does this mean? What does the data show on the government website? It's pretty interesting. Also, wage growth. Is it actually growing? That one we'll save for the end, okay? So this is officially the website, the official website of the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, what's interesting is that they use different surveys, population surveys and business surveys. What is wild, there's two, okay? One is called the payroll survey. The other one is called the household survey. And they vary, here's a screenshot, they vary in definition. What's pretty wild is that one of them is open to manipulation just a little bit. And the government itself admits to this. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because this is what different officials, this is what different White Houses, doesn't matter which one is there at the time, but they use these numbers as proof or evidence that the economy is strong, their policies are working for the positive of everyone, essentially. Now, in the post-pandemic, post-C-19 world, these numbers are extremely important. And we're going to take a look at how this is all affected. So, what's crazy is that some of these numbers lately, for months and months, they've been coming out with these essentially better than expected labor numbers. And some people suspect, some economists suspect, that it's because they're being double counted. People, their jobs are being double counted. And we're going to take a look at how this can happen. So going back to the website here, U.S. Bureau of Labor Stats. So here is how they define the two surveys. Down here is a chart, essentially, a comparison, definitions, methodologies, and here we have the scope, data source, outputs, reference period, employment concepts. That one is interesting. So, the household survey, 60,000 eligible households, payroll survey, which includes government agencies. That's pretty interesting. Essentially, they are surveying work sites, not individuals. So that's something to keep in mind there. So the payroll survey essentially is the one that can be cooked. Now, how can this be cooked? How does this double counting work? So what I found is that a person with two jobs in the payroll survey will count as two people having two jobs. That's how they're double counted. And in the household survey, because they're essentially asking individuals, they are counted as one person holding two jobs. Very different data sets. Now, if you look at this chart here, payroll survey employment, household survey employment. It's quite a difference in numbers. Now what's interesting is that they both trend in exactly the same directions, essentially mimicking each other, just the numbers are just so different. It's pretty wild. The only number that's not different is right at the peaks. So going back. So in the household survey, one thing that is a little nutty is if you sell something on eBay, you're considered employed. It's ridiculous. And one other thing that is really, I find this absolutely aggravating, is that if someone is out of work and they fail to search for a job, they're counted as having dropped out of the labor force instead of being counted as unemployed. And this is the super, super duper annoying part. Now, going back to the official website, scroll all the way down, job changing. This is where the payroll survey kind of becomes problematic. Employment estimates from the payroll survey where they count jobs. The household survey provides an estimate of the number of people employed. Okay? If a person changes jobs and is on the payroll of two employers during the same period, both jobs would be counted in the payroll estimates. So they're essentially saying if you have two jobs, both your jobs will be counted twice as two people. Therefore, double counting. If you have three jobs, you have three part-time jobs, you will be counted as three individuals having three jobs. The household survey, on the other hand, will simply reflect one employed person, and that's really tricky. And it lends itself towards manipulation. Therein lies the problem. Now, the other crazy part is the job growth. I'm sorry, the wage growth. Now, again, going back to the Bureau of Labor Stats, this is their own website, the Real Earnings Summary. This is for September. Whew. This is, I had trouble believing this one. So all employees, real earnings, this is for August, counting the previous month here. So the real average, in their own words, the real average hourly earnings decreased 2.8%. Inflation adjusted, okay, from 2021 to 2022, the real change in average hourly earnings combined with a decrease in the average work week resulted in a 3.4% decrease in real average weekly earnings over this period. So people are earning less despite the evidence showing that things have shot up, 10, 20, 30, 40%. They're earning 3.4% less. At the same time, supposedly, wages have held steady at 5.2% year over year. So inflation has basically eaten up any kind of wage growth. Not only that, it's making it go down at 3.4%. So that is very interesting. So all this constant saying that the economy is growing, you cannot deny that that something is up, and it's not as rosy as some will lead you to believe. So it's pretty crazy. Now at the same time, we have more taxes, right? We are getting taxed up the wazoo. So going back to the Bureau of Stats, consumer spending data, according to the BLS, Americans spent more money on taxes last year than on food, healthcare, education, and clothing combined than ever before. And that's pretty nuts. That's pretty sad. So you spend more on taxes and all of the essentials that you need to survive. It's not looking good. So let's take a look at that. So this is the report, super convoluted. It is just very long, 76 pages long. You want to have fun with that, go for it. But essentially, more people are spending more money, which is taxes, than on essentials. Food, healthcare, education, clothing combined. They spent more on taxes. And that is scary given the economic data coming out of the government. Just wanted to look at some Bureau of Labor statistics. They're pretty interesting, and they're essentially admitting that the situation is not as rosy as what you may see on TV. And by their own definition, it's mind-boggling how the citizens are suffering while they're also getting told that everything's fine. We'll see what happens. Hopefully something improves very soon. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Smash the like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.